Hey everybody, Jeff Reinhardt here, LMP and Lancaster Online. Welcome into the Week 13, lucky Week 13, unlucky Week 13 edition of the LL Football Roundtable, brought to you by Auto House of Lancaster. Sorry we're not outside today. It's a little chilly and we're trying to work with Lampeter Strasburg's schedule here today. We're checking in on the Pioneers. Another great season for these guys and a huge game this week. They get a rematch with Bishop McDevitt, who they've run into a couple of times here in the district playoffs. Friday night, they'll be over in Harrisburg, taking on the Crusaders in a District 3 4A semifinal game. That winner goes to the district final and will play either, check this out, Manheim Central or Twin Valley. What a fun week in 4A. This kid right here, he was on the field when he was a freshman, and he played a lot, and he has chiseled himself into one of the best linebackers in the LL League. He is Julian Lopez, and he steps in first. Hello, sir. How are you?
Do good. How are you doing?
Excellent. Good to be here. First things first, you're one of the ringleaders on defense, and year after year, you guys put out a great defensive unit. Speak to that, the tradition, being the next guys up playing defense, and why has that unit been so good again this season?
So we got a lot of athletes on our defense. Like, what we capitalize is our speed and how we can cover all sides of the field. Like, recently we've in the past 3 years we changed our defense to a stack defense, and that's been really fundamental for us, which we're allowed to stop run teams, we're allowed to stop the pass. And then we have a big, like, next man up mentality. We had our middle linebacker who's a captain go down, and that was a huge loss to us. And we had our starting safety go down against while missing. And it's just next man up mentality. Everyone's ready to take on a new role, do a new thing. Like, I know I started playing while missing as a safety, and I went back down to linebacker. But it's just a next man up mentality. And then at the end of the day, speed kills, and we got a lot of speed.
You played in the 2021 game when it was like 8 degrees in Harrisburg and they beat you 7-0 and you probably didn't sleep for a week. Will the older guys maybe use that? Hey, last time we were here, guys, we should have, could have won. It was freezing. It was 7-0. Will that motivate you this week at all? Absolutely.
Like, I know I had a few moments on that field, and I got a couple of my buddies who played that entire game, and we definitely know we need to get back there and get that win. It's hard losing 7-0. It's something that keeps you up at night. We were like harping on our offense, just creating like momentum for games exactly like this, and that's something that we're going to capitalize on. Is just play after play. We need to make plays and let our athletes get in space.
Are your juices already flowing? Like, are you in the stadium Friday night? Already like, okay, here it comes. Here's Saunders. They're going to throw on this down. How hard is it to kind of keep grounded here and just practice for the next 5 days?
I mean, we've been doing this since really week 0, honestly, in the preseason. You know, we always knew when you look at the regular season, we have those big names, Cocalico, why I'm missing again, and it's really easy to look at those games and start thinking about that. But the coaches have done a great job of just keeping us week by week, day by day. And right now, the motto that we keep saying is just one more week. Let's get one more week.
Break McDevitt down for me a little bit. What kind of game are you expecting? How good's the defense have to be? Give me a preview.
Like, having one of the best defenses in the Lancaster Lebanon League, we're like almost least in yards allowed. It's just shutting down their playmakers. We were tested last week with East Pennsboro and their passing offense. I believe they had over 350 passing yards, which is crazy. We haven't had something happen like that where most teams are more run than they are pass. But it's just doing our job right. I feel like we can shut their run game down pretty well. It's just defending the ball in the air. We're going to be tested, and it's going to be a hard-fought game, but we got speed, and we're going to use it.
Okay, we are back from Lampeter Strasburg, thanks to the Pioneers with the pioneering spirit.
Yes.
For giving us a little time for Jeffrey and getting ready to play in the district semis this weekend. That's going to be our focus. Big district playoff games coming, and this is the LL Football Roundtable brought to you by Auto House of Lancaster. My name is Mike Gross, and Jason is to my left, and Jeffrey is to my right. And let's get into it. We have 7 teams still dancing, if I'm
you are
doing
correct,
the
sir.
math correctly. Some of them are playing each other this week, so there's obviously we're going to be whittled down to a precious few after this week. So let's start with 6A semifinals. Cumberland Valley, 7-4. 1-4 at one point this season.
How about that?
How about that? And they played Manheim Township, who Manheim Township handled in week 1 of this season in a game that I happened to cover. Manheim Township beat York 44-8.
So much for the rust.
Yeah, and Cumberland Valley beat Wilson in what was a surprise to me. A
little bit.
20
Yeah,
to
maybe.
17.
Maybe.
I guess having seen that Cumberland Valley Township game, I just can't convince myself that Cumberland Valley's legit, but I guess they are. So anyway, I'll stop talking now. Jeffrey, what do you think?
Well, Manheim Township flexed its muscles last week. Here we are. I was a smidge worried, and I even wrote it about some rust and taking a little while to get back into it, and they were fine. Johnson 4 touchdowns, and Kennel and Clancy, and they were themselves. Love the streaks here. They know Cumberland Valley. Played them twice last year, beat them in districts.
Yep.
And then Mercy ruled them in week 1, and Township's just a runaway train right now. They see the finals. They're trying not to put themselves there next week, but they know they got to take care of business here, and they're at home. And I like the streaks a ton.
I will say teams change over the course of the season.
Surely.
That's right.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I was at Garden Spot Ephrata, and they played 6 weeks earlier, and Garden Spot handled them, and then rematch.
That's a really good example of it,
And
yeah.
Ephrata, it was a complete flip, from 20-point loss to a 21-point win. So Cumberland Valley's really rolling. You win 6 in a row, the schedule they play. I mean, look, Township's still a big favorite, but it's not the same game as week 1. The dynamics have changed a little.
Yep. Speaking of teams changing, I saw Harrisburg on Saturday play Cedar Crest. I saw Harrisburg play Township. They were never in it. I saw Harrisburg Saturday. They were Harrisburg. They were really,
Even
really
though Cedar Crest had the lead.
They hung with them.
Yeah, for a while, yeah.
good.
That
Yep.
was- yeah.
Middle third quarter on, middle second quarter on, all Harrisburg. And it was run game, Lee, deep passes, special teams. They were really good.
Here's what I keep coming back to, though, with Township is what they're doing offensively, the way they're using the passing game. I mean, everybody's seen it on film now for 2 months. Johnson had 4 touchdown passes in the first quarter.
28
last week.
zip, yeah. Right out of the chute.
Nobody's getting closer to figuring that out. They've given up a little bit of scoring lately, defensively.
Wilson,
Township has, but
They're gonna
nobody's coming close to getting a handle.
Nope, they're going to outscore you. And any kind of shootout game from here on out, I'll take Township.
Well, I think the team that beats Township beats them with personnel, not with scheme.
That's right.
And they just haven't
point.
run. They haven't
Yeah,
run
good
into
point.
that team yet.
That's right, and some of the people that they're going to run into, that is a possibility.
Way
Down the road.
Yeah, way down the road. All right, and the other semi is Harrisburg and Central York. Central York undefeated.
Undefeated.
Yeah, so I think that's a competitive game too. 5A, Hershey and Ephrata in a semifinal. What do you think, big guy?
Surprised by that result. Not the win.
Hershey
but-
winning, you mean?
I mean, the Ephrata Garden Spot result.
Oh, yeah.
Just because it wasn't that challenging. It was pretty easy. They dominated, and Garden Spot could not do much on offense. They had one big passing play. Everything else was 4 yards, 3 yards, and they just couldn't get anything down the
Wow.
field. Ephrata had a sequence where they scored a touchdown, onside kick, scored another touchdown in 7 seconds. It was 14-0, and it was really not.
Did they get a 2-point play in there somewhere
They ran 2-point conversions on the first 2 attempts. The
He's
first
been doing
one,
that last
First
couple
one
weeks.
they put in, the second one they got stopped. yeah.
Interesting. The 2 Cinderellas here in this game. Of all the brackets, Hershey's the 8, Ephrata's the 5, and one of them's going to the
And
championship.
Hershey was down big against Exeter in the
Way big.
Yeah, and they
Way
rallied.
big. So Hershey beat Exeter, back-to-back finalist, and then they beat the 1 seed, New Oxford.
New Oxford, yeah.
Angel Cabrera, 1,800-yard rusher, 27 touchdowns, 400 rushing yards in the playoffs, and 7 touchdowns. So they're probably going to ride this kid.
It seems like Ephrata's defense has gotten better. That's just my not from afar.
Yep.
And they're playing championship caliber defense.
They gave up 10 to Garden Spot, which averages 40, and they held Lower Dauphin to 13 in the first round and took care of them in the second half. When they had to, when they got the lead, they shut them down. So good for Ephrata.
The other semifinal, also a LL versus Mid-Penn Conference matchup. Cedar Cliff 9-1 beat Southwestern in the previous round 31-7. Cocalico beat Conestoga Valley from the LL 42-10. The Eagles are undefeated since that inexplicable week 1 loss to Warwick, which we haven't talked about for a while because it just seems like it could not possibly
Seems like that
have
was
happened.
years ago.
Anyway. So what do you know about this? Cedar Cliff only has
Interesting.
1 loss.
One
They got
loss.
a pretty good resume.
Yep, they lost to McDevitt. 48-7. Everybody's lost to McDevitt. They're undefeated. Saw Cocalico last week. Choppy start. CV got off to a great start. Jaden Johnson got a touchdown. CV had a 7-0 lead, 10-7 lead, and then Cocalico found it. We talked about them having a bye, and how was that going to do? They got healthy. Sam Steppe was back. Boom. Between the tackle kid, 3 touchdowns. Epinette played, 87-yard kick return for a touchdown. So many weapons with Cocalico right now. Cocalico beat Cedar Cliff 45-7 in the 2019 finale district game.
Too long ago.
But there's some familiarity with the programs, and Cedar Cliff's playing good.
Yeah, they are playing well. Big guy?
My first thought is Ephrata Cocalico district final. How crazy would that be?
That would be nuts.
I mean, that would be as big a sporting event as Lancaster County
Pretty
could
much.
have,
We'd have to
really.
double team that one.
Yeah.
We'd have to triple team that one. Holy cow. They played in the scrimmage in August.
Oh, okay.
They were the first live action game of the year, was Cocalico at Ephrata.
Wow.
Who knew? But if they both win,
And the war is going to be bananas for the semifinal game.
absolutely.
The
Payback.
community is just jazzed.
Hashtag
Yeah,
payback
that's true.
tour.
That would be cool. Yeah.
Hashtag payback tour. Well done, Ephrata.
4A,
Yep.
we're also in the semis, and we're also heavily LL involved.
Yes.
Lampeter Strasburg, as mentioned, they beat East Pennsboro 23-20 in double overtime.
Yep.
An East Pennsboro team that had a really good year, and now they step up in class, to put it mildly.
Yeah, McDevitt's just kind of a different animal here. Let's get the Stone Saunders stats out of the way. The Kentucky commit, 2,900 passing yards, 50 touchdowns, 2 picks. That's pretty tidy.
Kentucky commit who had an offer from Georgia.
He's legit.
Pretty high level.
Rico Scott, the wideout, going to Alabama.
Yeah.
1,000 receiving yards, 20 touchdown catches. So
As I've said before, he's got to be the most underpublicized Alabama commit in the history
Probably.
of Pennsylvania.
yeah, probably.
Joe Namath might be in that category.
Safe to say LS will have its hands full here. Love their defense all year, number 2 in the league. Their defensive stats are just incredible up and down, but wow, McDevitt's like another
Fewer
level.
than 100 points allowed heading in.
99.
Yeah. That's a great season, but this will be the ultimate test for that defense, that's for sure.
Yep.
And then the other semifinal is all LL. Twin Valley, Manheim Central. Twin Valley beat Elko 34-7. Great job by Elko this year to get as far as they did, right? Manheim Central beat Susquehanna Township with a little bit of a struggle.
Yes, both of Manheim Central's running backs, Armold didn't play and Torres didn't play. So they had to kind of change the game plan around, and they went like air raid. Zach Hahn completed like 24 passes for 360
But the concern
yards.
is the 34 by Susquehanna.
Giving up 34.
Yeah,
They were dinged a little bit, and Central's had one of the best defenses in the league here, second half of the season. We'll see if either or of those running backs get back. If not, Central's passing attack has been crazy.
Having seen Twin Valley, Jason,
You have.
this could be 51-50.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's a fun game for the upstart versus, historic program reason.
Yeah.
Twin Valley gets it at home, which is fun.
How about that?
Has Manheim Central ever gone to Twin Valley?
Never. It's their first meeting.
Yeah.
I'm guessing certainly not in district
And
playoff.
then all the skill position talent on both sides.
Right.
Central is a little vulnerable in the passing game down the field. So we'll see. That's not necessarily what Twin Valley does best, but we'll see if they can get a couple, long strikes on it. Because they're going to need to score a lot.
Awesome game. Keep an eye on
be
the
a basketball
lines.
score,
Yeah, keep an eye on the O-lines. Both teams pride themselves on O-line. Twin Valley's got 2,000-yard backs, so they've been awesome there. And if Central gets either of their running back kids back, they'll probably try to establish the run. What a fun, cool game. Wow, TV has nothing to lose here. Let it rip. Let it rip.
And then the last one that where we're still involved is 3A. This is the final.
Finals.
And it's number 1 seeded Wyomissing, 10-1, only lost to Cocalico, hammered Schuylkill Valley 48-0 in the previous round. And West Perry,
Mustangs.
the Mustangs, beat Lancaster Catholic 49-20. This is another team that can really score.
Yeah.
They're in the last week of the regular season, they lost to Steel High 33-12. That's a weird That was a weird result.
score.
But I just did a little math. The 5 weeks previous to that, they averaged 47 a game.
Wow.
And they hung 72 on the Bubblers.
What? Did you do that by hand or did you use a calculator?
Well, I can do the math, big guy. I can do
Beautiful.
the math. I didn't even have to write anything down. I did it in my head.
Nice.
Anyway, I think this is a tough game for Wyomissing.
Oh, I agree. And I think we saw the separation in the district last week.
Yeah.
As Catholic, Lancaster Catholic had a great season. Schuylkill
Wonderful.
Valley had a great season.
Wonderful.
But these teams are on a different level. And Wyo may not be Wyo of recent vintage, but I still think they are the champs until someone can find a way. Maybe West Perry can put up 35 against Wyo, but that seems like a tall
It was
order.
63-7 last year. Wyo won this.
Musa Smith ain't walking through that
No,
door.
he is not to play Mannheim Central in Hershey Park Stadium. Love Wyo's D. They gave up 67 yards last week against Schuylkill Valley, which was averaging 350 plus.
So
Bob
it's-
Wolfram seems to have this thing where they figure it out
As they
defensively.
go along. Yes.
Defensively.
Yep.
Offense is kind of just a machine.
Pretty much.
Defensively, they figure it out as the year goes on, right?
Yeah, we'll see if West Perry can move the ball. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, no doubt. Wyo going for 5 district titles in a row. That's pretty heady stuff.
So there it is, gang. That's our lineup of very big football games coming this weekend. Anything else for the good of the order, Jeffrey?
Yeah, and I want you to jump in on this as well. 2 coaching retirements already here. We're still in football season, but 2 guys have stepped down. Jeff Lang and Governor Mifflin, 33 years in the program.
Yeah.
Wow. Took over for Vecchio, who was there for 103 years, I think.
103.
They were great under Jeff. Districts, Nick Singleton, yada. Rick Keeley at Berks Catholic.
Yeah.
What a pro. I mean, he was there forever and a day. He coached more high school football games in Berks County than any other coach. And when they were coming in a couple of years ago, he was a guy I was able to kind of reach out to and chat with and get to know and learn their league and their teams. Both those guys will be missed. Tip of the cap. You covered both of them in your Berks time.
My favorite Rick Keeley story is 2015 state quarterfinals, Southern Columbia. BC has an incredible running game. The Lutz brothers were there then. 4th and 1 play in the 4th quarter, they can't get a yard.
Whoa.
They lose the game, 34-21 I think it was. And I asked Rick afterward, I said, you have this rushing attack, 5,000 yards rushing almost, and you can't get 1 yard. And I asked him about the frustration of that, and he said, got that grin, the Rick Keeley grin, and he said, all those other yards didn't come against Southern Columbia. And I just thought,
wow.
that was a great answer, right?
Yeah, that was a great
I don't know how many coaches would have been sort of as affable in that moment, because they had a great team. And
They were
could've-
loaded for
They
the
could have
year.
won a state championship that year, and that's just how he is. He's just, everybody loves him, and there's a reason why anybody you ask about Rick Keeley will have a sort of a warm story to tell, because that's how he treated people.
Media day in here the last 2 years. He's just smiling and walking around and eating a sandwich.
Yeah. He was
And hey,
hanging
guys.
with us after the whole thing was over, he was hanging with us out here. Yeah, that's
Fabulous.
So anyway, these guys will be missed, no question.
Yes. Where are we going? Where are we going?
Where are you going, Jason?
I'm going to watch Cocalico at Cedar Cliff.
Nice. I'll be at Cumberland Valley at Mannheim Township.
There you have it, kids. This has been the LL Football Roundtable, brought to you by Auto House of Lancaster. For Jason Barrente and Jeff Reinhardt, I'm Mike Gross. See you later.